So it is Wednesday night. It is 3 minutes after the top of the hour. Again, my apologies for being a little bit later. But Lucha Underground was just finishing up, so we needed to wait until the show was over. Even though my NXT was over way before that, but some solid shows tonight to talk about. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
the NXT show I was really happy with. So yeah.
It makes up for what we've got to cover for the rest of the stuff.
God, you have
some
no
extent.
idea. So, let's do this properly. Welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, is Ashley.
Paige and Alberto.
Yes. And once again, I say this again, just like I said it before. Very nice people. Very nice people that I had the pleasure of meeting,
Yes.
like I said.
Yes, but to each other, not so much.
It's Chris Brown. Well, actually, I do the Chris Brown and Rihanna thing, but I mean, I don't know what to compare it to now.
Chris Brown and Chris Brown.
I was going to say Ike and Tina Turner, but that doesn't work either. That's probably a little closer, though.
Bobby Brown and Whitney.
Yeah, it's like Chris Rock said in a bit a long time ago. Ike Turner got to be mad because Ike was the king of the woman beater, so OJ took his title.
Damn!
It's a Chris Rock bit.
I know, but damn!
So what do we got on the tap for tonight? Well, we have a little bit of everything. That's what we do here every Wednesday here on the Podcast Network. We're going to talk a little bit of everything, and I do mean everything. We're going to be talking about Smackdown. We got Battleground coming up on Sunday, the pay-per-view that nobody wants, with a few matches that looked really good. And we got 205 Live with a great 2 out of 3 Falls matchup. We're going to talk about that. We got more GFW Impact news, including the new potential signings of Taya Valkyrie, Johnny Mundo, and yes, Rey Mysterio. Finally, all three finally coming to GFW potentially in the near future.
Yeah. Okay, then we need to do the backstory on Mundo and Taya, which is just, I'd say, more juicy.
I agree. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Lucha Underground, What Culture Pro Wrestling, UFC, NXT, Ring of Honor, and of course, we've got the G1 Climax going on right now. So lots of talk of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Too much shit is going on.
and I got 3 letters for you, BOLA, and we're going to talk all things Bola tonight.
Hang on. I got 3 letters for you. I've got 3 letters for you, and you said BOLA. Do you notice the problem with your statement?
I thought I said 4.
No, I said 3.
Well, everyone knows I can't do math.
But
I get up again.
I don't know whether that's an excuse or not. That's a problem. Damn.
Indeed.
So, let's start with the shit.
Yeah, because we got a pay-per-view to promote for this Sunday. Welcome to the chat.
Smackdown. Yeah, here's a great way to do a pay-per-view publicity. Here's the Punjabi prison. The great thing about this, Jinder's doing a speech. You can't see the shit of what he's actually doing because the Punjabi prison is that obtrusive of a structure that you can't see anything.
Yeah, that's a big problem with that cage. It really is.
Of course, the big deal is that they explain the rules because, 10 years ago, nobody remembers. And the great thing is Jinder then goes to talk in Punjab and his voice cracks. So it's like, okay. So then Randy interrupts and says, you're either brave or you're not that bright. You're going to be locked up with me. You're going to lock yourself up like an animal. The Sings are the only reason you took the title in the first place, and we'll be locked together and there'll be no escape. So we're obviously telling you now that the Singhs are going to interfere and help the win. Literally exactly what the fucking Indian backyard wrestlers did in their Punjabi prison match. I'm pretty sure what happened in that will happen actually in the thing. I love that as fact. So Randy climbs the outer cage and says, I've got nothing to lose. You took my belt, embarrassed my family, tried to take my dignity, and you left me for dead. You know, I've got nothing to lose. You've got everything to lose. You're the 50th WWE champ. You got the weight of the entire country of India on your shoulders. You got the weight of 1.3 billion souls on your back. What happens when they call you a disgrace? This Sunday, this will be, because he's basically climbed to the top of the outer cage now, and this Sunday, this will be my view when I leave your jacked up ass in the ring. Oh, we're actually making it a thing. This will be your view when I take back what's mine. This will be your view when you hear your new champion, Randy Orton. Boring as fuck. Next up, Jimmy Uso versus Kofi Kingston. Jimmy Uso wins rolling through a crossbody from Kofi. Nobody gives a fuck. Now Shane's in his office, which may or may not be in a helicopter.
Oh boy.
So yeah, he's trying to work out a competitive match to build up to Sunday. And Charlotte says, I want Lana. Natalia goes, no, that'll be me. And Shane goes, no one's fighting Lana. And Becky goes, no, it's me. And Tamina goes, nobody's fighting Lana. And Natalia says, perhaps it should be Charlotte versus Becky. And Charlotte's like, come on, that ain't going to happen because Shane wants a competitive match. And Becky and Charlotte argue, and it's like, okay, let's have it happen. I don't know what happened. They just were arguing the shit out of each other. So they address Jason Jordan beating that M-word ass when he revealed that he's going to be stuck with the gimmick of Kurt Angle's son. So Chad Gable's talking with Renee because this is what she does now rather than be on Talking Smack. And Chad says, you know, you don't think your life's going to turn around when you watch Raw. You know, he'd love to note heads up on this because it's changed his life. You know, they trained together and did everything together on the road. But Jason explained it and he understands. And yeah, they won the Smackdown tag titles and Jason was there for matches against AJ and Kevin. And you know, I'll support Jason and I've got some ideas for what's next for me. You know, Kurt and Jason have a new beginning and they're not the only one. Be interesting to see me on my own. Yeah, nobody gives a shit. So then it's Mike Canales' debut against Sami Zayn. So the big deal here is Sami gets an exploder into the corner, preparing, I guess, for the haluva kick. But Maria gets into the ring and stands between them. The referee holds Sami back rather than call for a DQ or anything, while Maria protects Mike. And then, as the referee sets to it, Mike hits Sami with a punch and a Samoan driver and gets the win in about 4 minutes. Mike Canales, I never thought I'd say this. Mike's better at bloody TNA.
Yeah, 100% agreed.
Christ. Then here comes Cena. Of course, he's hyping up pretty much everything, but he says the most memorable thing you'll think of is the flag match. Now, I don't like Rusev. He runs down the country that I love so much. The reason you'll remember the flag match is because you'll remember one of two things. The flag of the USA waving in victory or the flag of Bulgaria waving in victory. Now, I know I'm not everybody's favorite son, but tonight we can all agree that everybody loves the US flag.
I'm British, so like no. Also, considering you're saying that 1.3 billion people are going to be watching in India, also no.
Considering some of the political situation that's out there, I think some even Americans are embarrassed to have the American flag, partially. Either way, John says, we fight for what we believe in and we never give up. America fought for its independence and the flag stood high. When brother fought brother, the flag stood high. When Pearl Harbor happened, the flag stood high. When the towers fell, the flag stood high. These colors don't run. Unless it's a shoddy flag and you put it in the wash in the wrong mix. And then Rusev runs in the ring and attacks him and grabs the Bulgarian flag and plants it up and celebrates. So Cena's winning. So then AJ's in the locker room. Nakamura shows up and AJ says, look, the last time we tagged, we didn't need strategy. And he wants to talk about what he misses about Japan. And Nakamura is just staring at the US title and just goes, one day, you call, I answer. I don't get it, but it was awesome because it was those two. So then it's Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. And the big thing was Charlotte had to tap out to the disarmer. So that was a nice little thing. Except then, they shake hands afterwards, and then Tamina and Lana show up. And they all sort of attack each other. Natalia attacks Becky from behind, and Tamina, the heel, sends Charlotte and Becky to the floor. And then Natalia takes Tamina down. Lana stops her, and then Tamina thrust kicks Natalia. What? Okay, a good match that turned into boring shit. Then Renee's with Naomi, saying, look, I won't be defending the title on Sunday, but I'll be the first in the ring to congratulate the contender. It don't matter who it is, because they better be ready for the glow. And then Carmella shows up, gets rid of Renee, and says, wherever you go, I'll be there in my briefcase. And now it's time for the Fashion X-Files, because the truth is not H. And Fandango's checking on the board, and they need to deal with science. And it's like there's no such thing as aliens or ghosts, and then there's a moaning, and they pull back the curtain, and it's Aiden English warming up. He's just like, do you mind? And they just shut the curtain. But a light appears from above, and it's like, oh, I always wanted to meet E.T. or Alf or Max Moon or Chewbacca. And then there's a little green man appearing, but basically it was just the delivery man that turned on the light. Fandango's like, oh my God, he looks so human and can breathe out air. So then the delivery box has come, and it's like, what's in the box? And Breeze is like, don't look in there, man. By the way, Tyler's got a wig on because I guess he's Scully.
Mm-hmm.
And Fandango opens the box, and it's the severed head of Tully, the Rockabye horse. And there's a note inside, and it simply says Battleground. So it will end on Sunday, which means it'll end at SummerSlam. I'm still trying to work out who it is.
There's not really many options.
Are the Colons on SmackDown again? I can't even remember.
Yeah, but I don't think they would do anything like that.
They're the only one that haven't been shown yet. That's all I can think of.
Unless it's another tag team being brought up, but there really isn't many options right now.
Nope. So then Nakamura and AJ versus Owens and Corbin. Pretty good for what it was, actually. Owens taking advantage of a blind tag and super kicking and pop-up power bombing AJ to get the win for the heels.
Crap. Owens is
Which
losing on Sunday.
means AJ and Nakamura are winning.
God,
I have no problem with them, really. Because the quicker this means Kevin Owens can face Jinder Mahal and Kevin Owens becomes the face. Yeah.
I'm okay with
I
this.
approve. So then we get to 205 Live. We open up with the main event, arguably. We open up with the 2 out of 3 falls match with Ali and Gulak, which, considering it's the Easto, was pretty damn good. Ali gets a roll up for the first count. Gulak makes Mustafa tap to the Dragon Sleeper for the second fall. And then the forward fall goes on for quite a while. So yeah, Drew goes to the turnbuckles. Ali hits him with a Frankensteiner, then goes to the top rope for the inward 450. Gets the win, and by 2 falls to 1, Ali wins it. So then they have footage from the website of Apollo checking on Tozawa and says that the business is a marathon and not a sprint, and that he was angry at Titus for the match against Braun Strowman, but Titus was standing for him. You know, Titus had no right to stop the match, but Titus was thinking out for Tozawa, and he wants to make sure that he's ready because he's his friend. And the way he said this was sort of like actually natural, as if, wait, these two are actually friends. Oh, wait, they actually are because of Dragon Gate Japan. So now it's time for Brian Kendrick versus Devin Bennett. Jobber alert!
Jobber alert.
Yeah, I can't be bothered to get the cardboard tube over. So apparently this Devin Bennett is from the same city as Gallagher. Allegedly. Ask Devin if he knows Jack, because apparently everybody is related in the UK. And ask if the people are proud of Jack. But Brian says things work a little differently in America. There's 2 types of people. People like me that are competitors and fight their way through the company. And then there's people like Jack who are goofy and take away spots from people. Do they admire clowns in England? And then you're going to quit and walk away, or you're deluded to think you can beat me? Basically, Kendrick wins in pretty quick time with a captain's hook. That's it. There's no Jack Gallagher there. So it's like, okay. So then TJ's asked about his challenge to Rich last week, and TJ says, you know, do you mean Swan? Because he's the only one that seems to be upset. You know, he hates finishing second to me, and he's bothered that I beat him in the Cruiserweight Classic. And I want to make up to him. We're going to do a tag match next week, and each man can pick a partner of his choosing, and may the best Cruiserweight win. So then here comes Daivari. Says that he's competed all over the world and there's no place better than Iran. Iranian wrestling's been a tradition for 3,000 years. Those who are successful become legends, like Imam Ali Habibi, who won gold in 56 and beat somebody from Japan for the gold medal. And history repeated itself last night. Tozawa lacks the honor needed. And ask for a rematch with a shoulder in his condition is a dishonor. I thought it would be an easy win. Although the great thing is, Tozawa actually wins it. Possibly with a handful of tights as well, interestingly. And then afterwards, I guess, for being dishonorable, Daivari throws Tozawa into the ring post. further like massacring the shoulder. Neville apparently is dead because he was nowhere on any of the broadcasts this week. And we have no word of his status, so who knows?
That's unique.
Yeah, your champion of your brand isn't even on. It's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's your lot.
So we go from our WWE to what's going on with GFW.
Oh, this clusterfuck. So we start with Grado and Park arriving in an old Volkswagen Beetle, which Joe says that belonged to his dad. And after a few more payments, it's his. He knows that Grado's going to get kicked out of the country by the president. So he's got to get him married so he can stay. And there's no better place for a courtship and a wedding than Impact Wrestling. And Grado's not sure. And Park says, well, all the boys are doing it. So let's get down to business. What? Jesus. So we open properly with LAX come to the ring and introduces Alberto. And Alberto asks Carlos what he's doing. They've been friends for years and went through it together, but wants to know what the bull crap was about saying that he's joined the group. I'm a leader, not a follower. But you tell me about all the things that happened to Mil Mascaras and Dos Caras and Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio and all of them. All the problems with the former owner. And not forget what they did up in Stamford. Yeah, this is actually all mentioned. I'll never forget, but I'm in a better place. I understand what you're trying to do, but just not how you're going about it. You become bitter. And I was a loner in Mexico and in Japan, and I'll remain here like that in Impact. And Conan says, you're not alone. LAX is your family, man. We can start an Hispanic revolution that these crackers don't want. All you got to do is say C. And Alberto says, I think you'll find the answer is no, son of a bitch. And Conan basically sends LAX after him and work him over. And then Lashley comes to make the save. Picks up the belt, hands it to Alberto, and then leaves. So, okay. So then we got a video package of AC8 saying that he wanted to become a wrestler after seeing Shelton Benjamin. And wants to become the first wrestler to wrestle on the moon. And then Andrew Everett says he's hoping that the Super X Cup will be the exclamation on his career, as well as his ticket to the X Division title. Spoilers, it didn't work out because ACH won. Basically reversed a suplex into a brainbuster of his own. Like, okay. The only problem with this, because it was Everett and ACH, it was flippy shit. So, a bit of a letdown there. But then again, it's ACH, so that's what it's going to be given, really. So then Borak is in the ring and introduces Gail Kim. Thanks everybody there and notes that she suffered an injury. And yeah, basically, by the end of the year, she'll be retiring from the ring. But the thing that matters most to her is she wants to leave on top in Impact Wrestling. Amazingly, there's no shit going on or whatever. So then Adonis comes to the ring and hassles the Swolmate guys, who both climb into the ring to get in Chris's face. So Adonis challenges them to a pose down. So they have a pose down. I have no clue what the shit this was doing in this program. So now, because we think it's bloody, what was it? WCPW WC, was it? That Australian shit
WW.
Jeff Jarrett was involved with? Like from 2002?
Yeah, the iGeneration Wrestling Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's Jeff Jarrett, everybody's going to want to see midgets, so it's Deimos versus Octagoncito. Octagoncito won. That's all that's worth saying, because it really wasn't even that good of a midget match. So Grado's hitting on all the knockouts and getting nowhere. But Joseph says there's one more chance. I'll get you some champagne and chocolates to woo her. Then Matt Sydal talks about being on Victory Road 2004. Now he didn't get back here until now. Everything happens for a reason, and now's the right time. Is it really, Matt? EC3 then gives Tyrus and Bruce Pritchard a nod because he's on the announce team for Moose versus Namuchi Marufuji. The big interesting thing is Marufuji goes for slice bread number 2, and then EC3 shows up and knocks him out with a ring bell. So Marufuji wins by DQ. EC3 then goes after Moose, but Moose ducks the bell shot and bicycle kicks EC3 out of the ring. Now we're back to the LAX clubhouse, and Conan says Alberta decides to go corporate, so we're gonna have to have Alberta taken out on a stretcher. Then they can beat him up inside the ambulance because this is street justice, and they're gonna take Lashley out as well. So then Trevor Lee shows up as the X Division champ. And he'll be the best champ that Impact could ask for. He searched the world and found William Weeks, who's apparently been all over the world and won lots of titles. I can't remember who it is. Either way, Lee dispatches him in pretty quick time. Then Sonjay shows up, attacks Trevor, but gets away with the belt. And Sonjay just stands there, I guess. So then we get Eva Story and Laurel Van Ness, which Laurel wins with a curb stomp, I guess. Wasn't special. It wasn't too special. The only thing that was really over top was Laurel's acting. She's really too into it. So then here comes Grado. And Joseph's like, go on, give her the gifts, and gives her the chocolate and the champagne. And then introduces himself as Graham. And says, she's the most beautiful creature you're the most beautiful creature I've ever laid eyes on. And she's like, oh, all these compliments that are coming at her. And then asks her out on a date, and it'd be really helpful, if she gave an answer tonight. And Laurel looks like she's about to say yes, and here comes Congo. And then bloody Park and Grado run off. Bloody Josh Matthews says, why don't you try Tinder? I'm like, what? Jesus. So it's LAX versus Lashley and Del Rio, which basically is EYFBO versus Lashley and Del Rio. An okay match that the, I guess, faces of Lashley and Del Rio win. Because Ortiz gets a spine buster from Lashley. They then double clothesline Ortiz to the floor, and then Santana gets the neck breaker double stomp combo. So they did shake each other's hands and hug each other after the match, and Lashley puts on the LAX headband and heads up the ramp, and Alberto says, we've been enemies, but we make a damn good team. And LAX then beat the shit out of Alberto. And Lashley's just like, and just walks off, not even trying to make the save. And Conan says, if you want to turn the back on these fans, this is what you get. And they put the LAX flag over Alberto's face. Very meh. Very meh.
All right. So we move on to Lucha Underground.
Fade to black, which is somewhat of a clue. Even though it doesn't this week. Interestingly. So previously, Son of Havoc and Son of Madness' stuff. Puma desperate to win. And the Cueto Cup stuff itself. So we start with Puma on the roof of Boyle Heights, having flashbacks and visions and all that of all his past stuff, and coming back from the dead by Vamp. And he's like, oh, all these visions, I need to get rid of them. And Vamp suddenly shows up on the roof with him and says, look, the only way you can get rid of those voices and those visions is by winning that title and getting your redemption. And then he looks down and he sees Worldwide Underground entering the building, and then gets the flashbacks to Mundo being the current champion. So the first match is Pindar versus Cage, which would have been good had it not been for the fact that they want to do storyline in this. So the referee, Justin Boardman, is trying to get the gauntlet off Cage, and Cage don't want to give it him. So he smacks him he smacks him down. So then the match gets DQ'd. Pindar wins by sort of default. It's always a good thing to happen. And then he destroys the referee further and then leaves. Bit of a letdown for something I was actually looking forward to. Annoyingly. Then we get Dante Fox versus Son of Havoc. Well, I say that, but it actually starts off with Son of Havoc getting attacked before he even gets to the ring by Son of Madness. He's just destroying him all over the arena. Even knocks him out with a chain shot. And so Son of Havoc's trying to recover on the outside, and here comes Dario out of his office and says, look, there aren't any free passes here. So either you forfeit or you fight the match. And of course, Havoc choose to fight. And this added to the storyline that made this a really good match. Because, of course, it's like everything that he's been to in terms of the beatdown, Havoc shouldn't stand a chance. But he really was on pace with Fox. And it was only a Fox gotcha late on that gave Dante the win and progressing on to the next round. It was just really, really nice. That'll be continuing in a minute. Nice stuff. But first, PJ's sort of getting ready for his match, but then goes to check with his friends before he's about to go. And Worldwide Underground has a new representative, I guess, agent, if you will, by the name of Benjamin Cook. I don't know if that's a dig at anybody. Probably not. And he says, this brand could be great and, could even control Lucha Underground. And he's desperate to have words with Cueto. Then they announced that next week it will be Mac versus Tejano and Drago versus Pentagon Dark in the final 2 rounds. or the final 2 last 16 matches, I should say. So then the Cueto Cup match itself between Black and Puma is really good. Considering, it's Justin Gabriel and Ricochet, they're going to do a lot of crazy flippy shit. Which, for the atmosphere of a lucha show, makes more sense than it is with the X Division situation in GFW. But Puma wins it with a 630. And we think it's over, but Dario's on the phone and says, yeah, he's just coming in. And so here comes PJ Black. Apparently he's come straight into the office because he's been ordered. And apparently he's been rung 17 times by this Benjamin Cook fellow, saying that he shouldn't have lost. It was unfair and that he deserves a second chance. And PJ's like, how the hell did he call 17 times in 5 minutes? And he's just like, yeah, it happened. And just as he's about to say that, the phone rings again. So at the 18th time, it's him. So he disconnects the phone. He says, you can redeem yourself because I can't let you back in the tournament because you lost. But I can put you in a match next week with the #1 contender, Rey Mysterio. And PJ's excited and Dario's excited because it means, probably more money for him. More eyes on the product. And then his mobile goes off and it's Benjamin Cook again. And he throws it in the bin. It wasn't that dramatic, so you're not getting the music on it. But overall, certainly in terms of the matches, there were some good matches on this show that you should probably try and check out if you can. And all that jazz.
Well, we move from what's going on with Lucha to what's going on with What Culture Pro Wrestling.
Oh, shit ton. I decided to do everything this week, the bastards. So, brief run through of what got aired this past week. Germany, the German qualifiers gave us Dave Bradshaw and Alex Shane on commentary. Oh, shit. So we started with Cash Money Urkin beating Rambo Braun in a pretty good match. In all honesty, because I haven't seen these guys before. So they did a good job. Bad Blones beat Pascal Spalter. I think that's how it's pronounced. Because it was sort of big guy versus big guy, it made sense. But the finish was a bit of a shame because Pascal was chatting with the fans and then got rolled up. So it was like, okay, that was a bit out of nowhere. Then Damac beat Kaplan. But this was relatively short, which is a shame because it could have been better. But Mac progressed on with a forward roll cutter. And then an okay match between Lucky Kid beating Juvenile X with a bridging dragon suplex. It wasn't too bad a match anyway. So then we had the Hunter brothers beat Tony Harting and Ronaldo Shaqiri. The Hunters getting the win with a top rope splash amongst a whole load of moves, but it was a good showcase for them. Certainly been a good tag team when I've seen them both live and on tape before. So it was a nice little fun, quick match, certainly. Then we had another good match with Gabriel Kidd retaining the internet title over Joe Coffey. Basically, Kid hit a running boot as Coffee was going for the Black Coffee discus lariat. So certainly well put together. Then Primate beat Joe Hendry via DQ. Really sort of very confusing, the finish here. So it was predominantly sort of a brawl sort of match. Hendry pulled the ref in front of a Primate spear, and then Primate got a submission win with Hendry tapping out as the ref came to. Primate celebrated, only for the ref to take the belt away and said that Primate had won by DQ because of Hendry getting DQ'd for pulling him in the way of the spear. So the champion, who should look strong, looks weak as shit, despite the fact it's Joe Hendry. Anybody notice the issue here? Alex Gracie beat Kenny Williams in a match to obviously push on the fact that Gracie is heel. Good match. Ended may have ended a little too quick. So then we have the second round matches. Pretty decent match with Lucky Kid beating Damac. Again, an abrupt sort of finish, bringing it. So Lucky Kid goes through. And then Bad Bones went through in the next match with a diving lung blower. Pretty good match. Overall, it's a sort of average to good show. Alex Shane is terrible on the mic. That's all you need to say. So then with the Japanese show, the interesting thing is certain matches got edited out because they'll be put on a future episode or something. So the ones I can talk about, Taguchi beating Liger in an upset, but was still a good match for what it was. Very technical, considering, you know, you got a veteran like Liger in there. Hiromu Takahashi beat Yohei Komatsu. That was a really good match. Takahashi proving, boy, he's good, and Komatsu also proving how he's a young up-and-comer that should be one to watch, because let's just say Komatsu's chest was beet red from the stiffness of the slaps. Bushi, Tiger Mask 4, pretty good match. I don't know whether the ones with the old timers were only good because obviously they're sort of aging, and the younger guys were able to sort of like pull it up to an extra notch, because the other match with Kushida beating Tanaka was really good, really solid. So then, because I can't talk about the results yet, there's an 8-man tag featuring the Prestige of BT Gunn, Joe Coffey, Joe Hendry, and El Ligero taking on Primate, Rampage, Gabriel Kidd, and Martin Kirby. Yes, Rampage does work twice on this show. Matt Riddle taking on Alex Gracie. The Swords of Essex defending the tag belts against War Machine. And also Marty Scurll taking on Kyle O'Reilly. Then we go back to what was actually on the stream, and we go to the semi-finals. Takahashi beating Taguchi was a really good match. Really well put together, as was Kushida beating Bushi. You know, it was overall, the stuff you got here did feel like it was a New Japan show, which makes sense considering 6 of the 7 matches are obviously technically New Japan matches. In all honesty, so yeah, Hiromu and Kushida progress on to the August finals. And then Ishii Rampage was as stiff as you'd expect. Ishii getting the win, though. But yeah, that was a good match. Certainly the Japan show was overall, I'd say, better. So we then come to this weekend. So this Friday, Manchester hosts the USA qualifiers, featuring Ricochet versus Matt Sydal, James Storm taking on Keith Lee, who's replacing Cody, because I believe Cody's busy. Actually, come to think of it, I don't know what Cody's doing. And then on the other side of the bracket, you got Lethal versus Moose and David Starr versus Bobby Fish. At least we know one guy that isn't probably going to be winning that side of the bracket. I'd have thought. Also set to be part of the show, Travis Banks, Gabriel Kidd, Joe Hendry, War Machine, and Marty Scurll. So whether Joe Hendry versus Marty Scurll will be on that show, I don't know. And then the rest of the world qualifiers, the brackets have been revealed and everything for this Saturday in Manchester. We've got Travis Banks of New Zealand versus Mark Davis of Australia. And then Jörn Simmons of the Netherlands taking on Tom LaRufa, the former Sylvester Lafort, representing France. Then Angelico of South Africa takes on the Hungarian Icarus. And then RJ Singh for India takes on Flash Morgan Webster of Wales. Also on that card, Ricochet will be taking on Marty Scurll, along with Lethal, James Storm, Matt Sydal, and David Starr in action as well, apparently. And then we come to the finals. Tickets are beginning to go because they've done the draw. And we now know the matches that are going to be happening. And this is the way that they are in terms of like left side of the bracket and right side of the bracket as well. So you'll be able to follow who faces who. So we got Kushida versus Kenny Williams. The winner of Ricochet, Sydal, Keith Lee, and Storm from Friday, they will be facing Zack Sabre Jr. So really, any one of those four would be an interesting match combination. Hiromu Takahashi versus Lucky Kid. Then an extra tasty one, Joe Coffey versus Michael Elgin. The big guys going at it. The Ultra Mystery group, whoever wins on the left side of the rest of the world bracket, that is Banks, Davis, Simmons, or LaRufa, takes on the right side of the USA bracket, which will be Lethal, Moose, Star, or Fish. We got Bad Bones versus Penta. Mike Bailey takes on the right side of the bracket for the rest of the world guys. So either Angelico, Icarus, Flash Morgan Webster, or RJ Singh. And then the pick of the ties, and if you've worked it out, you know who's left. Rey Mysterio versus Will Ospreay. So that's what's happening in August, the weekend after SummerSlam. So we'll be completely exhausted from all of that stuff, more than likely.
Yep.
Especially considering the following week is something called Bowler and King of Treehouse. God damn it. I don't think any other matches have been added yet to those shows this weekend either. If they have, certainly go to Pro Wrestling World Cup and What Culture's YouTube channel. They'll have details, I'd have thought, if any more matches get added.
All right. We move forward now to what's going on with the world of UFC.
Let's get to the interesting bit first, shall we?
Yeah.
So, There's a lot of rumors going around. Coming from BJ Penn's site. So, yeah, Dana was basically asked about the possibility of there being another fight back at UFC 200. And Dana basically said, I doubt it. I don't know how much longer he's got with WWE. I think his career is winding down, but he is a freak of nature, so who knows? Maybe he'll give me a call and says he wants to do it again, but I think he's ready to ride off into the sunset. A Twitter user by the name of Talk MMA, who has broken big news in the past, tweeted Heyman and Brock were at UFC's HQ during International Fight Week and had a meeting with the UFC brass. Brock's return's imminent, most likely for the Madison Square Garden show on November 4th. And the second person told them that Brock's back in the USADA testing pool. Rumor around WWE is that he'll be dropping the title at SummerSlam. So then he can focus on the UFC. Roman's winning the title, guys.
Don't
Then
jump
again, I guess it could be Samoa Joe, depending what happens there.
don't jump to conclusions. I think Joe's taking the title, and I think Joe's going to choke Lesnar out to win it.
The big thing, though, as to why people think that is the 1-year suspension that he had for the failed test was retroactive to July the 15th, 2016. Which means he's now eligible to compete again, which means he can now be eligible to get in that pool. So all that shit's happening. Cormier and Jones are trading shots at each other over social media ahead of their fight next weekend. Demetrius Johnson says that the problems he's had with Dana White was a big misunderstanding, and they're going to sit down with each other and talk about it all. Paulie Malignaggi is joining Conor McGregor's camp as a sparring partner ahead of their boxing match next month. And Cyborg said that there needs to be more than one face of women's MMA, given that Ronda Rousey's gone. It's also worth noting that Cyborg's been getting into a very interesting Twitter talk with Becky Lynch. And there seems to be hints that Cyborg could be showing up at SummerSlam. So who knows what's going on there? UFC also confirmed this week that Eddie Alvarez and Justin Gaethje will be coaching the next season of Ultimate Fighter, which will be built around a tournament to crown the UFC's first women's flyweight champion. Also, some sad news. Don Shea White, an amateur MMA fighter, died last night after a bout in Louisville. He collapsed after a fight for the Hard Rock MMA promotion at Expo 5. The fight got stopped and he walked from the ring backstage, became unresponsive backstage, was given CPR and then transported to one of the health centers in the hospitals where he died. And as it stands, because I haven't heard anything since, the cause of death is still unknown. Also, apparently, Bellator actually had a good fight. I didn't cover it because it's not a big show that I was interested in. But the Derek Campos versus Brandon Gertz fight apparently was very good. Although, if you don't like blood in your fighting, you might not want to, because it sort of, by the end of the first round, it was pretty bloody. By the end of the second, when the doctor stoppage came in, it was basically like Carrie. It was that crazy with the bleeding. Not in a good way. The tour, the McGregor Mayweather tour, I'd say has been a bit of an embarrassment, because what the interesting thing is, viewing figures for the UFC side of it was very good. For Showtime, by the second show, nobody gave a shit about it, which wasn't helped by the fact that basically there was allegations of the mics being cut on Conor, so he couldn't respond to the jibes that Mayweather was making at him. Mayweather sort of saying dodgy things like Dana and his crew don't pay enough for don't pay their fighters enough. And then, of course, Conor saying, actually, from the waist down, I'm black. You know, awkward shit. Who knows? Jagad Musasi will be making his Bellator debut at Bellator 185 on October 20th. They've also announced today that the UFC 215 show in September in Canada will be having the re-hosted bout between Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko. You know, the one that got delayed a week or so back by Nunes, basically with a severe head cold that was causing balance issues. After Tim Hague's death, the city of Edmonton feels that it shouldn't be regulating combat sports and that it should be a job for the provincial government rather than the city. And Joe Duffy signed a new 7-fight contract for UFC. Who he was a free agent, actually. I guess he signed for a bit and then was fighting for free in that sort of deal. So in terms of the stuff that happened this past weekend, it was the Glasgow show, the Fight Night show, Nelson versus Ponzinibbio. So on here, going through the Fight Pass prelims first, Leslie Smith beat Alanda Nemos and Brett Johns beat Albert Morales. Then the Fox Sports 1 prelims had Danny Henry beat Daniel Tamor, Galore Bafano beat Charlie Ward, Alexander Pantoja beating Neil Seary, and Danny Roberts beating Bobby Nash. And then the main card itself had Justin Willis beat James Mulheron via unanimous decision. A very late first round knockout for Khalil Roundtree over Paul Craig. Jack Marsman beat Ryan James via unanimous decision. Paul Felder beat Stevie Ray with a knockout about a minute from the end of the first round. Then the catchweight bout between Cynthia Calvillo and Joanne Calderwood. Basically, Calderwood came in 2 pounds overweight of the limit. So the fight still happened, and Calvillo beat Calderwood. From what I remember afterwards, Calderwood was not happy because she said that she did everything that the judges would be looking for, and 2 of the judges didn't even give her a round. One of the judges gave it 29-28, but the other 2 were 30-27, so she was a bit disappointed there. And the main event itself, Santiago Ponzinibbio beat Gunnar Nelson with a knockout within 90 seconds. Unsurprisingly, that got performance of the night, along with Paul Felder's knockout on the main card as well. The real positive thing, though, the fight of the night went to the opening one on the Fox Sports 1 prelims with Danny Henry and Daniel Tamer. I'm confused as to why it's... I guess it makes sense that it's fight of the night because 2 of the judges did give it 29-28. The confusing thing is the other judge gave it 29-26. So I don't know what was going on there. And in terms of the Tuesday night fights, Casey Kenny beat CJ Hamilton on unanimous decision. Sydney Outlaw beat Michael Cora via unanimous decision. Fan Lee beat Laser Stojanovic with a second round KO. Sean O'Malley beat Alfred Kashikayan with a first round KO just a minute or so before the end of the first round. The main event saw Daniel Svan beat Angel de Anda with a arm triangle choke submission midway through the first. It's worth noting, though, even before that, remember, this fight only went about 3 minutes. Somehow within that 3 minutes, Anda got 1 point deducted due to strikes at the back of the head. So I don't think Angel got signed up for a contract. The thing is, neither did Daniel Spohn. The only person after last week's 2 people got a contract. This week it was only Sean O'Malley for his win in the bantamweight division getting a contract. Everybody else, you're too fucking bad, apparently. There's another 5 fights this week. I won't go through the details until we actually get the results for next week because I don't want to build hype for it and then only this person got a contract. What I can build hype to, though, is the UFC on Fox show. So, yeah, you can watch this all predominantly for free. It's probably coming from the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. Lot of fights on Fight Pass, though, I will say, for this one. 5 fights, actually. In the lightweights, we've got Chris Wade versus Frankie Perez opening it up. We've got a heavyweight bout for match 3 with Timothy Johnson versus Junior Albini. Match 4 has Brian Kelleher versus Marlon Vera. And then matches 2 and 5 are from the featherweight division. Match 2 is Shane Burgos versus Godofredo Pepe. And the main event of the Fight Pass section has Kyle Bochniak versus Jeremy Kennedy. So then here's the twist. Like I think they did a few months back, Fox is showing both the prelims and the main card. So it's basically going to be a super extended Fox special this Saturday, the 22nd. So we've got on the prelims, match 1 is Daniel Grabowski versus Chase Sherman, and match 3 is Rafael Natal versus Eric Anders, and then 2 welterweight fights, with the second bout being Ryan LaFleur versus Alex Oliveira, and the main event for the prelims with Lyman Good versus Elizu Zaleski dos Santos. Can you have shorter names, please, guys? And then the main card itself, we've got the bantamweight division opening it up with Jimmy Rivera versus Thomas Almeida. Following that, a light heavyweight bout with Patrick Cummins versus Gian Vellante. Then next, the featherweight bout with Dennis Bermudez versus Darren Elkins. And the main event in the middleweight division, Chris Weidman versus Kevin Gastelum. And I think that's all the UFC updates for this week.
All right. UFC rolls right into Ring of Honor. I read that wrong. UFC is going to roll right into NXT.
And today's NXT was brought to you by AIW and ICW.
Yeah. This was a really good show. A lot of solid wrestling on this show. We have the awesome commentary team of Mauro and Nigel, and there's Percy's there too, I guess.
And the other guy, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Even though he actually isn't too bad at the minute.
He's not bad. It's just he sticks out like a sore thumb. It's kind of like Bob Uecker and Donnie from Major League. So you have Harry Doyle and Donnie, and they're just doing
how much
baseball
does this guy
commentary.
weigh, Owen?
Exactly. It's pretty much the same point. Yeah, he comes off. I mean, I think the thing is the fact that Mauro and Nigel are so informed when it comes to pretty much everyone in the NXT roster, because most of them are pretty much indie guys and gals. So they definitely know how to call their matches. And Percy's kind of just like, he comes off really not knowing what he's talking about, which is a shame because he's not bad. He's just, I don't want a 3-man commentary team in NXT. There's no need for it. So we open up the show with Ruby Riott versus Ember Moon. This match was really good, to the surprise of no one. Great stuff here. This crowd was split down the middle the whole time. Really good stuff here. Ruby gets back senton off the top for a near fall. And she ends up hitting a top rope Hurricane Rana for a near fall. And Ember finally gets the advantage with a rolling elbow out of absolute nowhere. It just pretty much loosened a few teeth there. So Ember hits her front handspring into the forearm in the corner and hit the Eclipse for the 3 count. This match was really good. They gave it enough time to develop, and the crowd was definitely into both women, and they were chanting women's wrestling. Just a really solid match and a great way to kick off the show. So next week, we get Hideo Itami versus Cassius Ohno. Life is good. So Ohno was in the back. He was talking about the differences between his last run and this one. And the next thing you know, here comes Itami. And he's like, did you request this match? And Ohno's like, yes. I said I'm going to take action, and I meant what I said. Hideo goes off on him in Japanese, and the next thing you know, he kicks a garbage can and bombs out.
It's garbage day.
Yes. Quick promo for the Street Profits. They're going to be debuting either next week or the week after. Then we continue with Indie Showcase on NXT. Danny Burch versus Oney Lorcan. Dear God, this match was good. Stiff as all get out. These two beat the daylights out of each other, including Burch hitting the Tower of London, which Nigel got to yell out, which was good. Oney gets his running flying guillotine and a sliding European uppercut for a near fall. Oney grabs the face, starts with the slaps to the face. Burch mows him over with a clothesline. Vicious release powerbomb for a near fall. Burch hooks up the exploder. Oney shoves him off. And at one point, he actually busted him open. He busted his face. And he's like bleeding profusely. Referee's got the gloves on. And once again, the match ends with Oney out of nowhere locking on the Canadian Maple Leaf. Shout out to Lance Storm, and gets the submission. They shook hands afterwards, and then they pulled each other in, and they basically had a stare down and says, I want one more match. And Oney's like, all right, let's do this. So Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan one more time down the line. Don't know if that's going to be, I don't recall, actually, I don't think it's going to be on these set of tapings. It might be the next set of tapings, which is coming up.
Or Takeover, because they need filler.
Takeover would be a good idea. And you know what, Ashley? I really think that if you want, after this, when they respect each other for the matches that they've gone through, I would put these two together as a tag team. And
part of me actually wonders whether that will be part of Takeover. It will just be on the pre-show stuff matches.
It's a very good possibility.
That will be the tapings, for the following week.
Wouldn't surprise me. So, then we get something that doesn't matter. And
what?
Now, Cesar Bononi against Andrade, Long Day, against Noe Jose. Yay.
Oh.
This would have been the time I would have went to the bathroom at Full Sail or bought merch. Not much to this match. So, Jose hits the turnstile. That's an old school reference. Hip toss into a neck breaker. Hits the running forearm in the corner. Pop-up punch. Match over. The only thing that mattered in this was after the match was over, Andrade Cien Almas attacks from behind. And it's the first time we see Taya Trinidad.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, you'll find this intriguing, Ashley. She's wearing a Harley Quinn pudding around her neck.
Okay.
I have no idea why this is the case.
Neither do I, but I'll accept it.
I'm okay with it. And we don't know exactly if right now, if she is a girlfriend, if she's a benefactor, if she's a sister. Can't really tell. And it hasn't been released on television, so we're going to have to wait for it. But basically, after this was over, you had Jose was watching from the ramp. He hits the ring like a house of fire, and Andrade bombs out. And yes, they are going to be meeting in the very near future. Speaking of future, main event time. Number one contendership to the NXT Championship. ICW presents Drew Galloway versus Big Dama.
By the way, that is available to watch for free on ICW's channel, by the way, anyway.
Very nice.
By coincidence.
This match was what you would expect it to be. Definitely hard-hitting. Great back and forth here. And I like Drew hitting the Air Raid Crash as a tribute to Finlay. But he gets a near fall off of it. So Killian Dane hits the Belfast Blitz, which works really well. Gets the Vader Bomb for a near fall. Dane sets up the Ulster Plantation. Once again, I got to get out of that. McIntyre wiggles free and goes for the Future Shock. Killian Dane with a bridge up for back out of it. Kind of a Northern Lights without the suplex. Gets a near fall there. Dane with a big-time leaping elbow drop. Abdullah wishes he'd get that kind of height. And near fall off of it. Dane goes to the top rope, hits an avalanche perfect plex off the top without the bridge, and kicks out. Drew hits the Future Shock. Dane kicks out at 1. So he starts no-selling. He sets up the Claymore kick. He does connect, and to the credit, Morrow and Nigel did call it the Claymore this time around. I think that's the first time I've heard that done. Since Morrow's been calling it, he's been calling it proper. Dane's like, come on, hit me again, and Drew basically retaliates with one more, a sliding version, and gets the 3 count. Really good match between these two. Very enjoyable edition of NXT. So NXT will be returning to the Performance Center this Monday for another All Access. I think we've talked about this in the past. So it is $1,499 per person.
What?
Yeah, I know. You get a light breakfast and lunch with superstars of NXT, Q&A and orientation with NXT coaches, Q&A and autograph session with NXT stars. You get to sign a booking contract to get admission to a private NXT live event at the Performance Center that you can produce, manage, and watch along with your favorite superstars. All access tour to the Performance Center. Excuse me. Inside look at a private NXT training session. Promo classes, including creating your very own unique promo and to create your own entrance. You're going to get a Performance Center access credential, a gift bag, a limited edition event chair signed by the superstars, a highlight reel available for download after the experience is over. Your promo downloaded after the experience, and professional photos taken throughout the day also downloaded after the experience. It's ADA accessible. Packages are extremely limited. They're first come, first serve. And of course, in this wonderful state, it's a 6.5% convenience fee, which is our sales tax on top of your order. So if you're 18 or older, yeah, I know. If you're 18 or older, you have to be you're fine. But if you're under 18, you have to be accompanied by a parent or a legal guardian.
Or steroids.
Yes. So NXT will be returning once again back to Full Sail, which is going to be right after TakeOver Brooklyn. That's going to be on August 24th. That's a Thursday night. Tickets are currently on sale. Interestingly enough, I wasn't able to say that before, but I can now. And then that's going to be the last NXT tapings at Full Sail until at least October. So That's NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying the indie-fication of NXT every single week.
Pretty much.
So we move on from NXT, one set of 3 letters, to another set of 3 letters. Let's talk about Ring of Honor.
So it starts off with Cody coming to the ring, as apparently what Daniels actually said was too offensive to air on television, because he mentioned the other brand, isn't it? So Cody got "You Deserve It" chants, and so they couldn't help but agree. As he mentioned Daniels, the crowd booed basically just the mention of him. And Cody then said, Daniels might have lost his smile. Keep in mind that this is in the same building that Shawn Michaels lost his smile basically 20 years before.
Exactly.
Or over 20 years, because I think it would have been 96, would it? When he dropped the belt, from what I remember. Or was it early 97? I can't remember.
It's got to be, it should be 96. That sounds right.
Yeah. And Cody says that his smile comes from being able to wrestle wherever he wants as a free agent. And then proposed defending the title against Daniels in a 2 out of 3 falls rematch. So then we get Jonathan Gresham versus Punishment Martinez. Pretty good match. The great thing was Gresham all the time kept working on the leg and working it away, and Gresham hit a psycho driver to win. And Martinez went to attack Gresham afterwards, but Jay White came out and they saw Martinez off. So yeah, it was really well done. The David beat Goliath, but at the same time, both guys looked strong, so it did what it had to do. So then Mande Leon's talking about a Women of Honor special, but Silas interrupts her, saying no one cares about women's wrestling. And he's got his workplace safety sign saying that Lethal's not been seen for 22 days at this point. And then Young left, and Mandy was clearly a little pissed off by what Young did, but said, watch this, it's going to be awesome. From what I remember, from what I heard of the matches from the tapings, it actually might be good. So we'll have to see. I think it's next week, I'm not sure. Next up, Cheeseburger and Joey Daddy Ego versus the Tempura Boys. I mean, it was all right. Burger winning with a shote on Yohei Komatsu to get the pinfall victory. And then 2 girls who seemed obsessed with Burger hopped the railings and swarmed him until the ring crew led him to the back, and then a member of security stayed behind and attacked Cheeseburger, ultimately revealing himself to be Will Ferreira. The great thing is, apparently, the crowd didn't even realize that it was Ferreira. So, like, the crowd reaction was just like, "Oh, some random bloke beat him up." Okay, so that really didn't work out perfectly. And then the main event, the Bullet Club of Hangman Page and the Bucks versus the Briscoes and Bully Ray. Really well put together. So basically, Bully Ray went to splash all the Bullet Club, but then who were all in one corner. But then Todd Sinclair was pulled into the corner, so got incapacitated, so was unable to make the count for the pinfall. Who on Page, you got a 3D. During all this confusion, Marty shows up, hits Briscoe with the umbrella, and Page gets the win via pinfall. And then afterwards, both Mark and Jay Briscoe were throwing officials into the barricade, and Bully Ray's pissed himself. So, are they turning heel altogether? Or, I mean, I don't know. Overall, pretty solid show again for the third week running. So, yeah, it be going good. Apparently.
All right. If you want, I can throw this out real quick. If you head on to rohwrestling.com right now, they have a few of the much wanted Bullet Club shirts available in their shop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So if you go to rohwrestling.com/shop, there is a category for Bullet Club merchandise. You can pick up the shirts, the Tekken shirt, which is $35. Cody, Hangman Page, Marty Scurll, and the Young Bucks. So Kenny is not available. No Elite. No anything New Japan connected.
That
but
makes sense. Well, that makes sense considering Kenny ain't officially there yet.
Right. And I have an update from Hot Topic, according to NJPW1972.com, because we're going right into New Japan next anyway, so it makes perfect sense. This was just released today, Ashley. Hot Topic will be restocking the original Bullet Club Bone Soldier shirts, as well as Kenny, the Bucks, Cody, Marty. Those are going to be restocked. They are going to be adding.
Why the fuck would you want a Bone Soldier shirt?
Oh dear God! They're going to be adding Hangman Page, and yes, your favorite tag team, the GOF.
Let's be honest. That the Bone Soldier gimmick killed Captain New Japan.
Yeah.
Completely. Proving that not everything Bullet Club is good.
Yeah, just like the NWO.
Boom.
Let's shoot. So yeah, the Hangman Page and the GOF, yes. The Gorillas of Destiny will be having their merch in Hot Topic as well. They're going to be having the zip-up hoodie, hats, beanies, and all the pins. And starting in August, the Lion Mark logo shirts of New Japan Pro Wrestling, as well as Los Ingobernables de Japan, will be coming to Hot Topic as well.
But can you buy Daryl?
I don't think so.
Boo. I want my Daryl.
And plus, also in August, it was mentioned that a brand new exclusive Elite shirt, which is not even on Pro Wrestling Tees, according to what the Bucks are saying on Twitter, is coming to Hot Topic as well.
Oh, the exclusives.
So much money Owen's going to be spending on New Japan merchandise. So many shirts I'll be wearing at Halloween Horror Nights this year.
You'll have so many. You'll be having to wear 2 a day, I think.
I'll literally have everything because I have Tekken right now in the box. On Monday, they're supposed to get a new shipment online, so hopefully Hot Topic will have a deal. So I'll probably be able to pick up Marty, Cody, Omega, and the regular Bullet Club shirt. Then I got to get Paige and the Gorillas. Then I got to get the new Elite shirt. And then I got to buy the LIJ shirt. Love to have Destiny shirt. That'd be cool. It'd be nice if they got that, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And then probably the good old red and white New Japan shirt. So yeah, I'll be buying a lot of NJPW merchandise.
Is this the point where you forget the announcement?
No. Continue.
So, Ring of Honor decided to spring a surprise on us all.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, impromptu pay-per-view next month. And it's a UK show as well. The show from Liverpool. I guess the Wi-Fi is good enough is going to be live streamed on the Fight TV app and Ring of Honor Wrestling. The main event we know already is Cody defending the Ring of Honor World title against Sonata. I believe we've also got Kushida defending the TV title, I think, in a 4-way.
Yeah, the Ring of Honor website hasn't really been updated, but the Twitter is going to be saying some things like that. Let me check to see if it's been updated.
Hang on, I need to go to my notes. It's in the notes from Papa Dave. That's too far down. That's far
cool.
up.
A bunch of Queen City Excellence news.
Yeah, I don't think they've even announced it on their website. Hang on.
Edinburgh. Queen City Excellence. Lots of stuff for Queen City Excellence.
It'll be a 4-corner survival match with Kushida putting the title on the line against Marty Scurll, Dalton Castle, and Hiromu Taka. Yes, Daryl.
So many matches for Queen City Excellence.
Yeah, well, that's next week.
Yeah.
That's TV tapings as well, so. So yeah, the show will be $20 either through the website or Fight TV, and it'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern, Saturday afternoon. Which will be part of the War of the Worlds UK tour, but will also be part of the double header on that day with NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2017.
Yep.
Along with obviously SummerSlam the day after.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of wrestling coverage coming up that week.
It's all to make up for the fact that we won't be able to do that much in September.
Yeah. Well, that also ties into the fact that we have Destination X right before that as well.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
No.
Back at it again because, yeah, back on Thursday the 17th, there will be GFW Impact Destination X. So.
Well, shit.
I may not be going to as many Impact shows because I have to cover other shows.
Yep. Plus, it'll be awkward if certain things haven't been resolved.
Right.
It's like the world champion isn't here.
So Borash did like a conference call, I guess, over the week with Jarrett, and they still haven't decided if Alberto's going to be working the house shows or not in August. So it's up in the air right now. It depends on what happens.
He's advertised, I believe, for the August show.
He is advertised, yes.
So who knows?
So, and we're moving on now to we started it. Let's finish it. Let's talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh, right. This is where I need to get to my notes, and this is where I need to do something that I haven't done before, at least on this rig. So, New Japan had its pre-G1 Climax press conference that it always does, which is up for free on YouTube. I recommend you watch it just for some of the visual stuff, which I'm somehow going to interpret for you. They did make an announcement beforehand that Hiroshi Tanahashi is going to be in a movie, and they're looking for extras from the fans that were either in attendance over the shows but were there at the actual press conference. So Tanahashi, because they all came in gradually. Tanahashi was posing a lot. Makabe was posing a lot. Nagata posed a little bit. Ibushi did. Goto did barely nothing. Ishii did barely nothing. Yoshihashi sort of did. a little. Naoto was classic. Farley showed up in, I think, Mr. T clothing. Really looked weird. And Zack Sabre Jr. just was a representative for the Labour Party. I'll get to that in a minute. Okada, classy suit. Toriano did sort of like walk like an Egyptian entrance for his thing, which was weird. Kojima was classy. Suzuki was in a weird get-up. Tamatonga was sort of looking smart to some extent, even though he was just in a shirt. Omega was in a sort of Yakuza Zero-esque sort of untied suit. And then Sanada and Evil were looking classy. So then it came to the actual sort of like talking about stuff, and Tanahashi led off the first because of the A block talks, saying that the B block has all these champions, but I'm the only one with a title belt in the A block. And with the movie, he said that when the G1 ends, I will be a movie star, or words of that account. Then Makabe, he's been on many TV shows, but hasn't been in many big matches recently because he hasn't done anything, and that's why he wants to win every match in the G1. He'll show the real Puroresu in the first match in Hokkaido. Who am I going to face? Shit, bad luck Farley. Farley responded to this. It wasn't directly afterwards, but I might as well mention it here. You said, I was going to make a nice speech, but he called me shit. And then he started barging stuff over, and people were having to hold people back and everything. It was just like, man, crazy shit going down. Nagata said it's going to be my last G1 and I want to show everything to my fans and end with great happiness. Ibushi said this is going to be my third time in the thing. I'll try and do my best and I will explode. And all the time throughout this sort of, oh, look, I'm in vision. Ibushi's making his speech and everything. And Omega's just looking at him with like contempt, just like, oh my God. What are you saying about this? Oh, look, you're mentioning me. I will look at you scornfully. And all that. Goto said it's been a year since his first semi-final in G1 and he'll do better than last year. Very simple, really. Ishii said that he will be thoughtless. Basically, he won't be overthinking it. Yoshihashi said last year was the first G1 and this year will do better so fans can see his progression. Sabre said, I'm going to prove why I belong in this division, what you might even though you might consider me as a junior competitor. Spoilers, he's correct. He also talked about neoliberalism, proving that he is hashtag Zack Sabre Jr. So then Naito was being Naito and said, to me, G1 is just to take advantage. I've won before, but that time I didn't capitalize. But this time I can do better. I'll enjoy it. You know, in A block, there's the guy who wants to make a good last memory, but G1 is never the replace for that. And Naito also criticized Ibushi for only wrestling a few times for a year because the G1 is no place for that. And of course, adios. One thing I will say as well, when they did the photo thing with the trophy, he put the trophy on the floor and just put an LIJ cap on the table and did the pose with the eye. It was like, good job. So then we get to Block B. Okada led it off, saying, I've had many hard matches as IWGP champ this year. This is for fans and the company, and I will make it rain. So then Yano did his shit. And he was like, sorry for being here without makeup. You know, me being a big old 39-year-old boy. Most important thing, though, is the Ultra Chaos Quiz DVD has been released. New Japan family, thank you for all your support. Good sales. Please buy more. I will win the G1 because I never lie. I never lie. And I will say that again. I never lie. I will take good pills to win. Oh, yeah. During all this time, Okada was fucking corpsing. He couldn't keep it together. It was just like, God damn it, son. There were smiles as well from quite a lot of the other people as well. Even Omega let a few smiles in. Kojima said, last year, this time I was struggling, but this year I've got no doubts. I'll do my best for my fans and Tenzan, who's influenced me. I'm trying to think who was next in the thing. Because it wasn't Omega next. I'm trying to think of the list of who was in the block. God damn it. Scroll down. Elgin talked about, he called out Sabre Jr. because Sabre said how Elgin had a nice suit that I guess he ironed. So they're teasing something there, obviously. And Juice Robinson basically went, look, I'm in a group with all these champions and all these legends, and then there's me. I could come up here and say I'm going to win, but let's be honest, I'm not. I'm here for the experience, and it's going to be a hell of a ride. And it's like, oh my God, realist speech there from Juice. He's just like, I'm going to learn from this and be a better guy come the next G1. So, good job from him. Then we had Omega basically doing his whole speech of he wasn't as disrespectful last year as saying, I'll have good matches with all of them because I'm in it. But certainly, once again, he was sort of angling towards wanting Ibushi and everything. Then Tamatonga said, I don't give a shit about this tournament. Fuck New Japan. There's a lot of old timers, but there's also a lot of, newbies and young bucks. By the way, shout out to the young bucks. The great thing is, the bloody Japanese woman that's translating all the English shit into Japanese literally went, shout out to the young bucks. Like, she actually translated it. Yes,
that's great.
She earned her money, bitches. Suzuki said, we only need one king for the Pro Wrestling world. Change the blocks now. Tanahashi should come over to mine. I will end you. So he wants a double title, I guess. Sanada said I will give everybody in the block the great gift of the skull end. And then Evil. Evil did his thing. And he was like, I'll show you guys how to beat up the current champ Okada. And then, of course, he came in with his line, because I am evil and everything's evil. Except he did it obviously in a much more extravagant way. The reason why I didn't do it in an extravagant way is because behind him, because he's in shot, is Kenny Omega. And of course, he decides to go, as he's doing this, just mouthing it, but obviously I've got to say it at the same time, he's basically just going, for I am evil. and everything is evil. It's like, yes, Omega. Yes, son. Yes. It's like, oh. It's such a great press conference just for all the crazy shit, even though some of it you won't understand. So then there were some general questions. And then they were first talking about Naito and Ibushi and like all the details. And Naito says, "Look, I know Kota's a great wrestler, but how many times have he wrestled this year? He's only wrestled, what, 10 times? Is that what you do, or are you just lazy? Please don't disappoint me, Ibushi." And Ibushi responded, "I don't know what he's talking about, but what I've done is something I've never done. I don't think there's nothing wrong with what I have done." Then Tanahashi is asked about Ibushi, saying that, he's excited to face you, but how do you feel about Ibushi? And Tana just goes, "I understand it's going to be special for him, and our match is going to be in Kagoshima, which is his hometown, so I guess it'll be exciting for me as well." So then Omega and Suzuki are asked about each other, and Omega says, "Look, we're both bad guys, so I don't wish any well on him. I hope it's sort of between us to decide who wins it." And Suzuki's just like, "I don't care. I just want to beat you up, Kenny." And Kenny's just like looking worried at this, sort of like, "Mm." Then Nagata's asked about his final G1, saying that he'll do his best so the fans will think that he doesn't need to leave yet. So then an interviewer asks about, "What about Sonata and Evil? What are you going to do?" And Evil basically says, "I'll beat the genius Sonata. It's the most exciting match for me. Please watch carefully." And then Okada is asked about how many champs there are on his side of the blocks. And he says, "Although there may be many with a title belt, I am the true champion." And that's where it concluded. I think they talked with the English, like Omega and Juice as well, but money going through the translations. So then that transitions us into day one from Hokkaido, which starts with Kojima, Tenzan, and Liger beating Elgin, Robinson, and Finlay. Then we had Suzuki, El Desperado, and Taichi beating Omega, Tonga, and Chase Owens. Next, Evil and Hiromu Takahashi beating Sonata and Bushi. And then Yado and Toriyano beating Gedo and Okada. They then announced that they'll be going back to Hokkaido in January for 2 shows. I wonder if they're the Ring of Honor Rising ones or whatever they were called. New Blood Rising or whatever it was. So in terms of the A block stuff, Yoshihashi beat Yuji Nagata with the Karma. Bad Luck Fale beat Togi Makabe with the Grenade. Hiroki Goto beat Tomohiro Ishii with the GTR. In the big upset, arguably, Zack Sabre Jr. beat Tanahashi with basically the submission. I think it was an armbar, basically, because Tanahashi tried to fight it, but Sabre undid the wrapping on his bicep and it extended the arm, so Tanahashi had to tap. But really well worked together. And then Naito beat Ibushi in what some are saying is a probable match of the year contender. Okay, it's probably, at least in some eyes, probably going to either of the 6+ or 6-star, 6+ star matches from Omega and Okada. But this is one that's certainly a very, very, very good match. Really, the only match that was disappointing from the block, because it was basically just a relatively quick sort of smash and grab, was Farley Maccabee. The other matches in the block were really good. And even the tag matches to build up the other half of the block and those that aren't in the competition were pretty solid as well. So coming up this week, in a few hours' time, day 2 is the start of Block B with Suzuki Omega, Sonata Evil, Okada Yano, Elgin Tonga, and Kojima Robinson. The Kurikan Hall continues tomorrow, Friday, with Block A having Naito Yoshihashi, Ibushi Sabre Jr., Nagata Goto, Makabe Ishii, and Tanahashi Fale. I'm pretty sure Ibushi Sabre Jr. is a replay of the Cruiserweight Classic semi-final, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
So there's the rematch there, a year on practically. And then Saturday, B Block back at Kurikan Hall, this time with Omega versus Tonga, Suzuki Sanada, Evil Robinson, Okada Elgin, and Kojima Yano. Then day 5 in Tokyo on Sunday. We'll have Block A again, and this time it's Ibushi Ishii, Makabe Goto, Naito Fale, Yoshihashi Sabre Jr., and Tanahashi Nagata. Block B on Tuesday with Okada Sanada, Omega Yano, Tonga versus Evil, Robinson versus Suzuki, and Kojima taking on Elgin. And then day 7 next Wednesday, back to Block A in Miyagi. It'll be Tanahashi Goto, Ibushi Makabe, Sabre Jr. Fale, Ishii Yoshihashi, and Naito versus Nagata. So we'll be certainly everybody will have had at least 3 matches. Block A will have obviously had 4 by the time we get to this time next week. And then it goes crazy with we got 5 days of wrestling the following week, followed by 4, and then we get the final countdown. So arguably this is the busiest of a lot of them. It's basically 6 shows in the space of 7 days. It's pretty ridiculous.
All right.
That's New Japan.
Well, what's going on in the wrestling world otherwise right now, Ashley?
So quickly sprawling through the Dave news. There's mixed feelings regarding how to handle the Alberto situation, but basically a suspension as it stands is the right way to do it, because firing would obviously look bad if charges were dropped. Obviously, the company's got a history of not doing much regarding the no punishment for drug test failures and everything, and never punishing Kurt Angle for multiple DUIs until basically they agreed to have him go to rehab eventually. The Atlantis knee injury is worse than anticipated. He underwent surgery and will be out for at least 4 months, so he's actually missing the anniversary show as well. Which means it'll only be the 3rd anniversary show that he's going to miss within about 34 years. So it's pretty crazy, certainly in that sense. He's never had a serious injury until now, even in his 20s. So, it's amazing in that sense. According to those within New Japan, it's unlikely they'll be doing anything in New Orleans in conjunction with Mania Week, at least at this point, as it stands. When the second night of Access was replayed, the segment with Ricochet coming out and said that he and Taguchi were challenging the Bucks for the tag titles, it was edited off. This decision was actually made by TV Asahi, rather than New Japan or Access. Whether it's to do with the Lucha Underground burial, probably. And if you're wondering why Billy Gunn can call himself Billy Gunn, WWE didn't continue the trademark. So basically, Billy Gunn has the rights to the Billy Gunn name worldwide. Cody's had an MRI on his shoulder, which is a grade A separation, but it means no structural damage, so he isn't going to be missing anything at the minute. That possibly is why he's not been part of the WCW stuff, just to let it heal. Possibly, who knows? Regarding Kenny Omega coming to Ring of Honor, the schedule is sort of around October-ish. And a guy that he'd want to face would be Will Ospreay. So we'll have to see there. Unsurprisingly, the stuff in the Borash and Park versus Steiner and Matthews match was taped the night before, and some the following morning, apparently. So they were up for a long time. Medusa's involved in some form, apparently, with the Mae Young tournament. I don't know what happened with that. Bailey sounded frustrated on Steve Austin's podcast about her position. See if there's anything else. Quickly. Apparently, Cass has some heat, particularly with his views on politics, as he's a strong supporter in a locker room where many don't share those views, but management's super high on him. So whether that'll be interesting, who knows? In terms of other stuff, House Bike Cops have been added to King of Trios, which is Officer Warren Barksdale and Des Peloton of Jasper Tippins and Donald Kluger. I should probably check to see if anything got added within the last. Yeah. Oh, wow. Another one got added literally within the last few hours. House Body Slam from Denmark will be featuring Michael Finn along with Vasil and Emeritus. There's going to be a lot of people that I've never heard of. And I don't mean just the Shikara people. So that should be interesting. It's also worth noting the baseball stadium show they were supposed to be doing never happened because the baseball got rained off. So the weather basically rained it off completely. Bola. Oh, we get to talk about this. So the cards have been revealed at least for the first couple of nights. So for the tournament itself, night one features Flamita versus Ricochet, Jonah Rock taking on Zack Sabre Jr., Matt Sydal versus Penta, Flash Morgan Webster versus Marty Scurll, Ray Phoenix taking on Ray Horus, and Brian Cage versus Devon Xavier. And then night two's first round matches has Keith Lee versus Walter, Mark Haskins one-on-one with Travis Banks, Matt Riddle taking on Michael Elgin, Jeff Cobb versus Sami Callihan, Donovan Dijak versus Trevor Lee, and Sammy Guevara versus TK Cooper. They've also announced that night one will be having Donovan Dijak and Keith Lee versus Jeff Cobb and Matt Riddle, the Chosen Bros. And the South Pacific Power Trip of Travis Banks and TK Cooper taking on the Young Bucks. Night two will also be having Ricochet and Matt Sydal versus the leaders of Zack Sabre Jr. and Marty Scurll. And also Flamita and the Lucha Brothers of Penta and Phoenix taking on the Elite. So yes, Kenny Omega's back in PWG for the first time in quite a while. Let's hope they can use him for Night 3 as well. I'd hope. Matt Capitelli provided an update on his diagnosis of his brain cancer. And not good news, he posted on Facebook, update, I have a grade 4 glioblastoma multiforme. This is not the news I was hoping to hear for sharing, but it's no way to deter me from continuing my fight. Spinal tap this Friday will determine if the cancer cells have spread to my spinal fluid. Monday is a follow-up with my team of doctors to determine treatment steps that are needed to beat this. So certainly best wishes to him. Rey Mysterio, rumored to be going to either WWE or Impact.
Sounds really likely that it's going to end up being Impact.
Apparently, he's had meetings in Nashville, both with Jeff Jarrett, and also because, of course, Raw was there with WWE this past week. So he's met with both. The interesting thing is, though, Johnny Mundo and Taya might be going to Impact as well. The main reason being more details regarding what happened with AAA. The big thing being they wanted Mundo for photo shots to hype up, I guess, the upcoming shows that they've got. And in turn, they asked him to bring Taya's belt to get shots of the belt itself that they wanted to do stuff with, apparently. So they did the photo shoots, and they said, oh, well, we need to do some more stuff with the women's belt, so if you leave it with us, we'll do it and we'll have it sent back. Which, of course, meant they stripped her of the title. Without, obviously, Taya being made aware of it, or Johnny Mundo. So, reportedly, both want out. The complicated issue with that is Mundo is Triple Crown champion because he's Cruiserweight champ, Latin American champ, and Heavyweight champ. Great job, guys. Something that's also come out, interestingly, from 2009 through to today, the following people have received traffic tickets or citations. So we've got Akam, Alex Riley, Aiden English, Alistair Black, Baron Corbin, Becky Lynch, Bobby Roode, Bronson Matthews, Charlotte, Enzo, Jason Jordan, Hideo Itami, Nikki Cross, No Way Jose, Riddick Moss, Sawyer Filton, and Ty Dillinger. Other cases that have apparently come forward somehow, I don't know if it's Public Information Act or something. Baron Corbin was charged for bringing a handgun into Orlando Airport 2 years ago. And apparently last year, Liv Morgan was criminally charged for leaving the scene of a car accident before police arrived. There was also civil suits against Razor and Paige for failure to pay rent or car payments. But as somebody on one of the boards that I frequent noted, the driving situation is a bit crazy because apparently Barrett have driver's license before they went to America, and then they all of a sudden needed some. So they only had a few days to sort out a license. So they booked their theory and driver's test on the same day and practiced in a car park the night before. Thankfully, they both had passed the test and got the licenses. So two guys, not even from America, with no driving experience, got licenses from countries that drive obviously on the opposite side of the road. By comparison, in Ireland, certainly for Sheamus and probably over here, you have to pass a theory test, which requires you to score a certain score, which is about 5 times the amount of money probably it takes to have a theory in Florida. And you're supposed to do 12 driving lessons over the course of the region of 6 months, basically practicing. And only after you complete 12 lessons which must be documented and certified by an instructor, can you actually take the driving test. An Irish driving test takes place like a British test does on actual roads with actual traffic, not in a parking lot, which is obviously differs from state to state, because apparently New York does require people to go onto actual roads, but some just do it in car parks, apparently. And apparently Florida driving tests don't need that much. Either take place in either empty parking lots or quiet lanes devoid of other traffic. What I'm trying to say is, you Americans are crazy.
Well, I mean, I don't drive, so I can't be in this conversation.
Good man.
Yes.
I mean, you should drive, but considering all the shit that happens in Florida, probably not nice move.
Thank you, Uber.
Brought to you by the Big Sick. Lawler's announced that he and Renee will be on Talking Smack after the pay-per-view this Sunday. Regarding that, apparently nobody was told that show was being cancelled. Not Shane, not Renee, not Daniel Bryan. Good PR failure there, because of course the mainstream media picked up on it. You know, the people that are part of the show weren't even told that it was being cancelled. Supposedly Lesnar's going to be in the Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada show on September 30th. Whether that will happen if the UFC thing's real, who knows? Taylor Wilde was considered for the Mae Young Classic, but stayed in retirement after suffering an injury during training. Dave Meltzer will be on Talk is Jericho this Friday to discuss the Chris Benoit tragedy, obviously 10 years on.
Wow.
ROH has announced the show, the UK show at York Hall in London on the Friday will be headlined by the Bullet Club of Cody, the Bucks, Skull, and Page in 10-man tag action against all of LIJ of Naito, Sanada, Evil, Bushi, and Takahashi. I approve. And they've also announced that the main event of the Edinburgh show on the Sunday will have Daniels and Kazarian versus Cody and Marty. Raw's ratings were higher quite a while. A little bit up, obviously, because last week it did go against the Home Run Derby. It's always a popular thing, or relatively popular. Smackdown's ratings, I think, were slightly up as well, from what I remember. Again, that was going up against baseball, the All-Star game, I believe. So, the Knight Family promotion have stripped Alberto of the title, but they've stressed it was a mutual decision for the promotion, and it wasn't anything to do with the personal differences and everything. Apparently. And the other reason why Taya was stripped of the title is they want to bring Sexy Star back in the company because she showed up at the surprise tapings in Monterey. What the fuck? Orton's finished shooting his movie this week. Comic-Con will be featuring a WWE Mattel panel featuring all the women. It'll be Charlotte, Nikki, Brie Bella, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Renee. That's actually later today. It's Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific, so Renee will be back in plenty of time for the wrestling. Leo Rush's final independent match will be on August 12th for Maryland Championship Wrestling in the same building where he started training. Rex Backus has got a GoFundMe going. He's a Florida-based indie wrestler diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Has missed a lot of work due to being hospitalized on 4 separate occasions. Has been in hospital for 3 weeks after having removed nearly a foot of small intestine to clear a blockage. He's also got stage 2 colon cancer and will need both surgery and chemo. So I think you can check that out if you find the link on F4W or GoFundMe. San Diego Comic-Con also is going to be having a headlocked comic book thing, which will feature Crime Time, John Morrison, and Ric Flair. The CMLL show, which I believe is available for free on YouTube, had certainly some very good matches at the end by the sounds of it. There was a 6-man tag with Dragon Lee and Mystico and Caristico taking on Los Heos del Infierno of Hefesto, Luciferno, and Mephisto. And then the main event, which was for the Universal title, or the Universal Championship, I should say, was Ultimo Guerrero versus Volador Jr., which you can tell how good both of these matches were, because in both of them, fans threw money in the ring. So then we might as well mention the Mae Young Classic now, because it's next up in my notes. So the first round were all 15-minute time limits. Princess Suga Hit beat Kaylee Ray, and I'm like, you idiot. Serena Deeb beat Vanessa Bourne. Shayna Baszler beat Zayda with a chokeout submission. By the way, the 4 horsewomen were in the front row. That is Roderick Strong's wife, and yes, that is Rhonda. They were there. Then Piper Niven beat Santana Garrett, which was said to be a really good match, which is good. Go on, my girl, Viper. Yes. Mia Yim beat Sarah Logan. Mercedes Martinez beat Ji Lee, the Chinese girl. Rhea Ripley beat Miranda Salinas. Abby Lay victorious over Jazzy Gabert, which is weird because apparently Jazzy was the most over woman on the entire show. Even if you saw the introduction thing that they did on YouTube, she was the most over with everybody, which was crazy. Tony Storm beat Aisha Raymond. Dakota Kai victorious over Kavita Devi. Candice LeRae beat Renee Michelle. Rachel Evers beat Marty Bell. Bianca Belair defeated Sage Beckett. Lacey Evans beat Tainara Conti. Nicole Savoy beat Reina Gonzalez. And then Kairi Sane beat Tessa Blanchard with the elbow drop. Yay! It didn't get taken away from her. Yay! So then night 2, the rest of the last 16 in the quarterfinals and the semifinals opened up with a non-tournament match with Deonna Purrazzo and Jessica James beating Nicole Matthews and Barbie Hayden. Yeah, they were all on the show, yet didn't even compete in the bloody thing. What? Yeah, just stick them on the pre-show, like the generic matches. Okay. So then with the second round, we had Abby Lay beat Rachel Evers. Said to be good. Piper Niven beat Serena Deeb. Mercedes Martinez beat Princess Suga Hit. Kairi Sane victorious over Bianca Belair. Tony Storm defeated Lacey Evans. Shayna Baszler beat Mia Yim. Jessamine Duke was there as well, the other 4 horsewoman. Also worth noting that Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch were at the opposite end. And afterwards, she went up to the WWE girls and held up the 4 fingers, proving that they were the real 4 horsewomen. Oh, I like that. We had Dakota Kai beat Rhea Ripley. Candice LeRae victorious over Nicole Savoy. So there's your 8 sorted. Next, we had the quarterfinals. Mercedes Martinez beat Abby Lave. Shayna Baszler beat Candice LeRae as a proper heel because she choked her out and refused to release the hold afterwards. And Candice got helped to her feet by the trainers and Johnny Wrestling, of course. Tony Storm beat Piper Niven. Shame, but I can see why it makes sense, considering Kairi Sane beat Dakota Kai. So then we had the 6-woman tag match with Jazzy Gabert, Kaylee Ray, and Tessa Blanchard beating Santana Garrett, Sarah Logan, and Marty Bell. The crowd were chanting, "Please sign Jazzy," like crazy for this. So then Triple H came out, thanked the fans for being there and supporting for women's wrestling. They kept chanting, "Please sign Jazzy," and he said, "Look, I've only got so much money. You've already cleaned me out getting all this great talent in." Then brought out Sarah Del Rey and thanked her for creating the women's revolution. My God, they acknowledged the right person, not Stephanie. So then the semi-finals happened, and we had Shayna Baszler beat Mercedes Martinez, and Kairi Sane beat Tony Storm. So there you go, September in Vegas. It's going to be Baszler versus Sane, which I think happened in Stardom a few months back. I think we had Hojo versus Baszler. Either way, I hope one or if not both of them are signed to the E. We'll have to see. I mean, technically, we know Sane is because she's in the Performance Center. So that could be interesting. In terms of the schedule, it's really weird. So the first 4 episodes will be up August 28th. Then the following week, the second set of 4 episodes will be up September 4th. And then the finals will be after Smackdown on September 12th. So it's a busy fortnight, apparently. So then when you come to results and upcoming events. So from this past week, the only things I'll mention from Northeast Wrestling is Cody Rhodes retained the Northeast Wrestling title, beating Ricochet on the Friday night in Connecticut, and Jack Swagger the Saturday night in Troy, New York, meaning that the next time that he's in action there will be defending the title against Jerry the King Lawler in August. Also worth noting that Brandy Rhodes beat Tessa Blanchard on the Saturday show in New York.
All right. I think that might be the show.
No.
No?
That's just the Cody stuff. I've got to talk about the other results.
All right.
I was yawning. I couldn't hold back the yawn. I couldn't mute it because obviously I've got to cover all the crazy shit. So with CWF Mid-Atlantic, I won't go through the full results for Opportunity Knocks, but I will note that Tracer X won the Fatal 4-Way featuring Gabriel Monix and Garrison King. Carlos Gabriel, Pat Monix, and Garrison King to earn a future shot at the Ultra J title. And then in the Johnny Weaver Cup tournament, we had Duke Joint Lucas Calhoun beat the Rapscallion Mick Moretti. Aaron Epic beat Matt Nix. The Ultra J champ, Logan Easton LaRue, beat Utamaro. And Alex Daniels beat Stevie Fierce. So they will progress on to the next part of the tournament. They are having a show next week, which will be the CWF Mid-Atlantic guys getting their chance to shine. The tag team gauntlet was won by Caprice Coleman and Darius Lockhart to get a future shot at the tag belts. And then Kane Justice, Eric Andrews, and Zane and Dave Dawson beat Chet Sterling, Smith Garrett, Dirty Daddy, and Snooty Fox. So yeah, the champions having their titles on the line never happened because the champions obviously won, therefore by default retaining, I guess. The Smash Wrestling show I don't have any results for, nor do I have results for the ACW show that was on WWN. Obviously, nothing with Shikara either. So then we get to Shine and their tournament. Started off with a Sparkle Showcase match, though, with Kikyo beating Leah Knox. They then brought out all the 16 women for the tournament. And then Vader Scott notes how she opened Shine 1, so she has the longest undefeated streak in the history of Shine. So she's taking on Priscilla Kelly. Priscilla Kelly beats her because Vader has to tap out to a head scissors submission. Then Leah Vaughn beat ACR. Aya Pereira victorious over Stormy Lee. Kira Hogan beat Shotzi Blackheart. Then in the Once in a Lifetime Contenders match, it was Dementia DeRose, Brandy Lauren, Daisy, Natalia Markova, and Maria Maria. Maria Maria won with a discus clothesline, and she was interviewed afterwards, and it was like, how excited are you for Sunday? And she was like, "Me no speak English." So they got a translator in, and she was very excited to face her. And then Lufisto came out and said, "Look, I'm not dressed to fight now, but my Spanish ain't too good. I'm happy that you won, Maria Maria. The lucha star and the biggest puta won. Maria can dream. You got 2 days, and then you'll see me on Sunday." And then Maria says, "You won't be wrestling me on Sunday." Gives Lufisto a stunner, and Maria removes her mask, and oh my god, it's Allison Kay. Even though it sort of looked like her anyway. So then we get back in with the Nova title tournament. Aria Blake beat Dynamite DD thanks to shenanigans from Blake, Hogan, and Cartwright, of course, because they're the heel stable apparently right now. Jordan Grace beat La Rosa Negra. Candy Cartwright defeated Robin Reed. Again, interference. Although it did backfire from Aria Blake, but Candy still got the win anyway. And then Evilise versus Holidead as the main event. And the 20-minute time limit expired, so neither woman goes through. So then Candy Cartwright comes out, and she's like excited and ecstatic because obviously that means she gets a bye. So she goes straight to the semi-finals. And then afterwards, Holidead and Evilise beat the shit out of Aria Blake because they're pissed. So then we get to Shine 44. So we start off with the quarterfinals. Priscilla Kelly beat Leah Vaughn. Then Kira Hogan, victorious over Aya Pereira. Then Aria Blake and Jordan Grace. Well, it's Jordan Grace that won that one, actually. With Blake having to tap out from a bear hug. Then non-tournament action saw Shotzi Blackheart beat Natalia Markova and Dementia DeRose. Back to the Shine Nova tournament, this time with the first semi-final matches, which saw Priscilla Kelly beat Kira Hogan. With a tap out to Trapped in Sin. And then the other semi-final, Candy Cartwright beat Jordan Grace. Basically, Jordan was trying to suplex her into the ring, but Hogan grabbed the leg, so Candy got the pinfall. Then Lufisto retained against Allison Kay to retain the Shine Championship, although it was by DQ because Maria Maria showed up. Because basically Lufisto got a chair and managed to hit herself with it. So Kay then grabs the chair when Maria Maria comes in and goes, "Ref, she's got a chair." And of course the ref basically saw it, so disqualifies Kay. So then Allison manages to unmask Maria, and it's Brandy Lauren. And Allison basically says that, you've written your death warrant, and then kicks the referee and hits a stunner on him. And then the final, and your first ever Shine Nova champion, is Priscilla Kelly. She won. Basically, Kira Hogan tried to make the save, but Jordan Grace came out to stop it. And Shine's next show will be September 15th, so a couple of months away, certainly. AIW this past weekend, pretty decent card as well by the looks of it, 11 matches in all. John Morrison beat Colt Cabana with Starship Pain. Samantha Heights defeated Scarlett Bordeaux with a kick to the head. Paco and Team Eclipse of Stephen Wolf and Trey Miguel beat Jake Something, Kurt Stallion, Danny Adams with a moonsault combo from Team Eclipse. ACH victorious over Myron Reed. OI4K beat War Machine. Shane Strickland and Penta defeated Trevor Lee and Garza Jr. Scarlett and Graves beat AR Fox and Jeff Cobb to win the tag belts. Matt Riddle beat Matt Fitchett. Chuck Taylor victorious over Davey Vega. David Starr beat Eddie Kingston via chin lock in the I Quit match. And Sami Callihan beat Keith Lee with a chair shot to the head to retain the AAW title. In terms of this weekend, or this coming week, I should say, Dragon Gate Japan has a show this coming Sunday, the Kobe World Hall venue, the Kobe Pro Wrestling Festival. Pretty big one. The pre-show is Shakihoko Boy versus Drastic Boy. Then 8-man tag with Mochizuki, Fuji Kanda, and Jimmy K. Ness take on Kaito Ishida, Yushi Yoshoka, Shun Skywalker, and Hayo Watanabe. Then there'll be 2 first-round matches in the Triangle Gate tournament. The teams being the Jimmys, Tribe Vanguard, Overgeneration, and Maximum. Following that will be Jimmy Kagetora versus Flamita for the Brave Gate title. Then the Triangle Gate #1 contender will be determined. And then whoever wins that will immediately go into the match against Shingo Takagi, Yoshida, and El Lindamer. Then the tag belts will be on the line, the Twin Gate titles, with Chima and Dragon Kid defending against Naruki Doi and Masato Yoshino. And the main event for the Dream Gate title, Yamato defends against your winner from the tournament a few weeks back, T-Hawk. On Point Wrestling has its next show cleared for takeoff this coming Saturday. The Monroe Business Center in Williamstown, New Jersey. Set for this one, we've got Sean Carr versus Steve Scott, a 4-way featuring Xavier Cross, Dan O'Hare, Cole the Beast, and Alex Payne. Devon Moore and Drew Blood in tag action versus Lionel Knight and Carter Mason. Pele Primo takes on Granakuma. Leon St. Giovanni, one-on-one with Drake Chambers. Vaughn Vertigo faces Unbreakable Andy. G Raver has got a Nightmare Open challenge. And Tony Deppen defends the OPW title against the winner of SOTS, Survival of the Sickest 2, I guess. Jeff Cannonball. Speaking of hardcore stuff, Freelance Wrestling this Friday will be having its Freelance Wrestling versus CZW 2 event. So there'll be a scramble match featuring talents from both brands. And then in terms of Freelance versus CZW, obviously the Freelance guys are first. We've also got Shug D versus Ricky Shane Page. Ego Robert Anthony versus DJ Hyde. Stevie Fierce, Eric Cannon, Kylie Ray, and GPA facing Joe Gacy, Maria Manic, Connor Claxon, and Alexander James. In the CCW rules match, Craig Mitchell takes on Matt Tremont, whether he's father or not, who knows. And the main event appears to be Azaris Velasquez defending against taking on Leo Rush. There is no title on the line there. Shikara's got its Hour of Power on Shikaratopia this weekend. 2 matches confirmed as of broadcast/recording. Hermit Crab defends the Young Lions Cup against Razorhawk. and Delmi Exo takes on Race Jackson. Big one for AEW this weekend, Absolution 12, with the big 8-10-man tag with the Young Studs, Matt Justice, and the Jollyville Fuckets, taking on Garrison King, Joshua Bishop, the Lamar, Big Twan Tucker, and Chase Oliver. For the first time, it'll be the Duke one-on-one with Dominic Guarini. Filthy Tom Lawler takes on Eddie Kingston. Ethan Page faces Sean Schultz in a ball rope match. And then your titles. The tag titles on the line with two Infinity and Beyond defending against Crazy Pain, the Ninja Elite Squad, and the team of DJZ and Laredo Kid. Shayna Baszler puts the women's title on the line against Mia Yim. Alex Daniels has the Intense title up for grabs against challenger Joey Janela. And Tim Donst puts the Absolute title up to be won against 3 opponents, being Hot Sauce Tracy Williams, Josh Prohibition, and Lewis Linden. It's also worth noting that there will be an Arn Anderson meet and greet before the show takes place, with various things you can get in terms of autographs and photo ops. It's also worth noting there will be special Chandler Biggins versus the Werewolf t-shirts available. And I guess the first proper tribute to Chandler since his passing. Also worth noting the August show next month will feature the Glacier of WCW fame. This Saturday, please go to twitch.tv/WrestleCircus, because WrestleCircus is having another show over there on Twitch entitled the Square Ring Circus. So on the matches set up here, there's 10, so hopefully it doesn't go 5 hours like last time. We got Colt Cabana and Delilah Doom taking on Christy James and Gentleman Jervis Cottonbelly. Ethan Page one-on-one with Mr. 450. John Morrison takes on Donovan Dijak. Scorpio Sky with Kevin Condren takes on ACH in warm-up before Scorpio is apparently facing Cody at the show in August. Sammy Guevara one-on-one with Flip Gordon. There's a Pro Wrestling Revolver open invite match. I'm guessing Jordan Lennox may be putting the Pro Wrestling Revolver title or whatever it is on the line. So he's in the match along with the Chris brothers of Jake and Dave, Jason Cade, Myron Reed, AR Fox, Desmond Xavier, Space Monkey, Zachary Wentz, and who knows more. Maxwell Jacob Freeman defends the CCW Wide title against Leo Rush. The big top tag titles on the line as Roppongi Vice take on the Lucha Bros of Penta and Phoenix to make up for the fact that they were had to miss last month due to Penta getting robbed and everything. Shane Strickland defends the Ringmaster title against Sami Callihan. And the main event is the women's match. Rachel Ellering defends the Lady of the Ring title against the Sideshow champ Tessa Blanchard. Yes, it's title for title. Somebody's walking out with 2 belts. Somebody's walking out with none. And then this Sunday, Progress Wrestling's Vote Pies, Chapter 52. Unsurprisingly, tickets are already sold out. In terms of the matches, though, look pretty good. We've got a 4-way with Chief Deputy Dunn, Zach Gibson, Jack Sexsmith, and Chuck Mambo. Mike Bird takes on T-Bone. Tony Storm defends the Progress Women's title against Laura Di Matteo. There will be a triple threat tag match with CCK of Monday Lycos and Chris Brooks taking on the Banter Edition of El Ligero and Dave Mastiff, and Extra Talented of Aaron Solo and Ricky Starks. The Progress tag titles will be up for grabs as British Strong Style defend against War Machine. And then the deal that seems to be happening now is to pick your opponent's opponents. Basically, Dunn wanted to pick all of Travis Banks' opponents, and they've agreed to it. But just to be on the fair side, Travis can pick Pete's opponents as well. So considering comments that were made recently, Banks has chosen Dunn's first opponent to be Eddie Dennis, who I believe, from what I've been told, in terms of the videos and the stuff, is that he's given up teaching to actually go wrestling full time. So best of luck to him, certainly, in that stuff. And no doubt him and Dunn will put on a great match this weekend. And then, holy shit, we've actually done in about 2.5 hours.
Isn't that amazing?
Thanks to the wrestling companies for deciding not to have result for some of the shows, which meant we could get through it relatively quicker.
Yeah.
Which is sort of what we'll need because, well, let me have a quick check of next week. We got Fight Club Pro. We've got the ICW Shug's House Party stuff. We've got the Ring of Honor TV tapings. Lucha Toronto and Alpha Wrestling up in Canada. Oh, and Beyond Wrestling. And possibly Women's Wrestling Revolution there as well. And, of course, CWF Mid-Atlantic stuff. Along with New Japan. So, actually, not too much. It's turning into relatively calm, amazingly, before we get to the craziness of, oh shit, here's SummerSlam and Ring of Honor and NXT. Oh shit, here's the Pro Wrestling World Cup finals. Oh shit, here's Bola, and I'm guessing the Bola and the Shikara stuff is probably the last stuff we'll be covering live, I'm hoping.
Yeah. I don't know what the WWE pay-per-view dates are for September off the top of my head.
Hang on. I think the only one that's confirmed at the minute is the one later on in the year, I think. Let me have a quick check. Upcoming schedule. Yeah, the only one confirmed at the minute is Raw's No Mercy on September 24th from LA.
Yeah, that's definitely not happening.
There is no confirmation for whatever SmackDown pay-per-view is happening early September.
Yeah, we'll be missing both No Mercy and TLC.
Which is a shame, but it makes sense. Plus, I'll probably be somewhat recapping it anyway.
Ashley will take over and start covering. We'll be covering wrestling during Howling Horror Nights. Because I'm going to be super busy.
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure. I'm just worried though about how many SmackDown and Raw, because as it stands, interestingly, we're only having one pay-per-view a month after Battleground. So the only worry is that No Mercy and TLC are both Raw things, as SmackDown is due a pay-per-view in between them. But you never know, the brand split might be dead after a year. Please God.
Wouldn't be shocking.
Hell, it nearly killed Shane O'Mac. Didn't even get to that. Hang on, let's see if there's any new news in the update for today, because I haven't even looked at that yet, because only just came in about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Probably like an hour or two ago. I'll have a quick look. See if there's anything of interest. Oh, Sami Zayn and Mike Kanellis rematch has been added to Battleground.
Yep, saw that.
And the pre-show will have Aiden English versus Ty Dillinger. Okay. So yeah, ABC7 in New York has video Shane McMahon and the pilot of a helicopter after they had the crash landing scare and all that stuff, which is, I'd say, a bit crazy. Daniel Bryan's joked about starting a pirate version of Talking Smack on Tout. I wouldn't object. AJ Styles is going to be on Edge and Christian's podcast this week. John Cena's tweeted a promo urging fans to go to Battleground. Oh shit, is tickets that far down? Uh-oh. That's good. Kenny Omega got CM Punk to make a video for a friend of his who lost in the finals of the Street Fighter V tournament, because he was sort of it was interesting from what I saw from the media coverage of that, because he was the American guy, they stayed focused on him, which obviously probably the first time that he's got that far, and he just capitulated, and the Japanese guy was just playing like a god. So PJ got a pep talk from CM Punk. I don't know whether Kenny actually filmed it. Who knows? Probably not, because he's obviously in Japan right now, but he got him to film it over and send it to him, so which was a nice little touch. Oh wow, I've just seen the tweets from Johnny Mundo about Vampiro. And so apparently Sexy Star has already won the belt. She hasn't just come back and is going to win it. She has. Mundo said the locker room thinks you, Vampiro, are a two-faced lying douchebag who believes his own lies. # office stooge. Wow. Oh, okay. So the reason why they're saying Mundo and Taya might be part of GFW is because they're going to be on GFW's house shows up in the Northeast next month. That's why, I think. Oh, no. GFW's debuting a post-show for Impact with Tyrus and Josh Matthews on their website this week. Vince, you're giving them ideas. God damn it. Oh, that's put me in a bad mood. Anyway, that is actually the show.
All right. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at Ash is my name UK.
So tomorrow, Sip and Snack returns. Or I can say tomorrow because it's not Thursday yet. And this week versus returns on Friday. AJ's movie reviews of Dunkirk and The Beguiled, among others, is coming out this week. So stay tuned for that. And, of course, Ashley will take over on Saturday and Sunday. We're back here next Sunday for Battleground for the podcast right after Battleground finishes. And back here. Yeah, I know. Back here for Raw next week as well.
If we just
Let's see how many hours I can.
If we just start talking about G1 instead, forgive us. Actually, don't.
Yeah, let's see how long I actually make it to this pay-per-view. Because I actually work Sunday, as always. So, yeah, we'll see what's going on with that. So, a lot of stuff coming in the near future. So, that's going to be some really cool things. Follow the network on Twitter at Podcast Network. Follow me on Twitter at Turo and Disney. Follow and check out our Facebook fan page at Podcast Network. And thank you, Jeremy, for being in chat tonight. And as always, in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more this evening you have chosen a podcast. Well, thank everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. You never know. Maybe this weekend we'll be playing a game or two. Let's wait and see. Soon, maybe sooner than you think. And until tomorrow, boys and girls. That's all we can say about that.
So.